Welcome to Live, Life-Inspired Views for Every Day. My name is Chris Meyer, and I'm a curious soul. Last summer, while teaching counseling, one of the students, Ellen, crafted a wonderful line in reference to learning the skills. She said, "We must remember to practice and pause." Well, in that sentence, she was able to portray the most important part of learning the art of counseling. The pause is powerful because it allows reflection, which leads to deeper understanding. The pause. It's been on my mind so much these past weeks. I think perhaps because I'm working on a particularly challenging jigsaw puzzle. What blows me away is when I work and work to find the right place for a piece, only to come back to the puzzle in a bit of time or in the next morning and suddenly see where it belongs, just as plain as day. What kind of magic is that? What happens in the pause, or time between working on the puzzle and returning to suddenly clearly see the answer? I'm reminded of the wisdom passed down from almost every spiritual and philosophical group about waiting a bit, letting things settle. The metaphor of muddy water instructs us to let the muddy water in the bowl settle, letting the mud come to rest on the bottom. Only then can we see through it. Only then does clarity emerge. That's the pause again. Clarity happens in the pause, in the waiting for things to settle. Long ago, I ran across a story about an older woman named Lucille, who was married to a grumpy husband. Her friends wondered why she had stayed with him for so many years. They didn't see him treating the kind, tender woman with the respect and thoughtfulness that she deserved. And yet, she never spoke badly about him and was supportive and devoted, telling her friends that he was not always as he appeared, and there was good that she saw in him. They worried that he would eventually crush her spirit. One of those friends was on a hike one day and stopped along the trail to rest. She sat on a log thinking about Lucille, frustrated with how she continued to live. Her thoughts were heavy as she was staring at a little yellow flower coming from a crevice in a stone. The tender flower seemed oh so much like Lucille. But suddenly she sat up straight when she realized that the tender flower had cracked the rock. Sometimes the pause can come as insight if we give heed to the moment, reflecting and allowing wisdom to come. My Japanese sister Tsuru is a docent in the Japanese gardens of Portland, Oregon. She took us on a tour through the gardens and at one point told us to look at a site that looked like a clump of trees. Then she told us to step through that clump of trees, and suddenly our eyes rested on the most beautiful view. She said that it is called hide and reveal. Japanese gardeners use it to provide illusions and twists, and suddenly the visitor is awarded with a wonderful view. That is what the pause does. We can't see something until suddenly it's there. I just finished the book The Originals by Adam Grant. He says that the attribute of originality is not to fall back on what seems traditionally a good idea, but rather exploring if a better option is possible. Grant suggests that the starting point is curiosity. Most of us have experienced déjà vu, which happens when we experience something new, but it feels familiar, like we've experienced it before. Adam Grant says vujade is the opposite of déjà vu. When we encounter something new and avoid looking at the old standby view, an attitude of vujade allows us to see the familiar, but with new eyes, and thus gain insights into old problems. Perhaps we again can enlist the power of the pause to conjure wisdom for the moment. In our fast-paced society, we do not honor the pause often enough. What would happen if we would? Most of us are certainly not in the habit of relishing a moment to sit in the pause and ponder thoughts, life, breathing, or observing. When I was a principal, a grandpa came to pick up his preschool granddaughter. He came 30 minutes too early. He decided to sit and wait. For 30 minutes, he sat in the chair by the school secretary's desk and waited. No scrolling phone in his hands. He just sat and waited in the pause. I envied his patience. It was like a sacred space, sitting in the stillness of his thoughts. My best time for me to celebrate the pause are the moments before I get out of bed each morning. That is where many of my podcast thoughts come from. When is your best pause time? This week, on your bathroom mirror, write, "Honor the pause," and watch for what may be revealed. Join me next Monday for L.I.V.E, Life-Inspired Views for Every Day. I'm Chris Meyer, and I'm a curious soul.